kepada semua yang hadir. Right. So hari ini merupakan sesi perkongsian ilmu, okay, ICT Coffee Session, okay, datang daripada Optimas, okay, Kumpulan Penyelidikan Optimas. So sebagai wakil daripada Optimas, okay, untuk ICT Coffee Session ni saya perkenalkan, okay, Dr. Wan Yaakob bin Wan Muhammad Yaakob bin Wan Bejuri, okay, yang akan menyampaikan sesi perkongsian ilmu berkenaan bertajuk An Application of AI in IoT. Okay, so saya berikan kepada Dr. Yaakob.
Okay. Assalamualaikum semua dan salam sejahtera. Anyway, thank you very much to Dr. Fauzia for inviting me in this session. So it's very sebab first time kan bagi talk dekat fakulti. Jadi so saya berasa amat teruja sekali. Jadi so tanpa membuang masa saya start dengan introduction kita pada hari ini. Let me share the slide first. Okay. Okay, so this is my title today, Introduction of Artificial Intelligence in IoT. So my name is Wan Muhammad Yaakob bin Bujuri. So I'm currently a member of Optimus Research Group. Okay, so so this is our online today. So I will describe firstly our introduction of AI, and then the difference between AI versus IoT, what will happen when AI embedded in IoT, the taxonomy of AI, the application of AI in IoT, the future aspect of this field, current research and collaboration. I mean my current progress in terms of research and collaboration, and the last one is summary. So, as an introduction, basically AI is the science and engineering that try to make machine intelligent, trying to get them to understand human language and to reach problem and goals as well as human being. However, there are some researchers who affirm that the objective of the AI is to put the human mind inside a computer, although they may speak metaphorically. Some of the fields where AI can be applied, such as video games, data mining, discourse recognition, NLP understanding, computer vision, and the creation of expert system and data classification. So those AI can be divided into several branches, among which stand out automatic learning, computer vision, fuzzy logic, NLP, heuristic, and also intelligent agents. So according to Microsoft CEO, there are 6 different rules that we need to know about AI. Firstly, AI must be designed to assist humanity. Second rule is AI must be transparent, being aware of how the technology works and its rules. Third, AI must maximize effectiveness without destroying the dignity of the people. Fourth, AI must be designed for intelligent privacy. Fifth, AI must have algorithmic responsibility so that human can undo the unintended damage. And the last rule is AI must avoid bias by ensuring adequate and representative research so that the erroneous heuristic cannot be used to discriminate. Okay. Now I want to talk about the AI versus IoT. Okay. So basically, AI refer to the simulation of human intelligence in machine. They are programmed to think like human and mimic their reaction. So this term may also be applied to any machine that exhibit traits associated with a human mind, such as learning and problem solving. It is also a field of computer science in which a machine equipped with the ability to mimic cognitive function of a human that can make decision based on its past experience or responding to an action that is was completely unaware until that time. Meanwhile, for IoT, IoT can be described as the network of physical objects, so known as thing that is used for the purpose of connecting and exchanging data with other device and system over the internet. So it is also is the internet networking of physical devices such as vehicle, buildings, electronic device, sensor, actuator, and also and etc. Which is this kind of thing are capable of communicating among themselves with the external environment. They are equipped with a device capable of communicating over a network. So what will happen when AI embedded in IoT? Firstly, if this AI we implement in IoT infrastructure or devices, it can increase operational efficiency. So AI crunches the constant stream of data and detects the pattern not deceptive on simple gauges. Machine learning and AI technology can predict the operation condition and determines the parameter required for ideal outcomes, thus improving the efficiency. Second, it can enabling new and improved product and services. Uh, in this part, the NLP is getting better and better at letting people speak with machines rather than requiring a human operator. AI can control drones, robots, and other things which is can go where humans cannot. Third, AI can improve risk management. By pairing AI with IoT, it can help business to understand as well as predict a broad range of risks and automate for the prompt response. Thereby, it allows them to better handle financial loss, employee safety, and cyber threats. And the last one, the AI combination of AI and IoT, it can increase in terms of scalability. The IoT device range from mobile device and high-end computer to low-end sensor. However, the most common IoT ecosystem includes low-end sensor, which offer flood of data. AI-powered IoT ecosystem analyze and summarize the data from one device before transferring it to other device. As such, it reduces large volume of data to a handy level and allow connecting a large number of IoT devices. So this is called scalability. Okay, now I want to talk about the taxonomy of IoT. So basically, in this taxonomy, I divide into four different fields. First, machine learning. Second is computer vision. Third is fuzzy logic, and the last one is NLP, which is a natural language processing. Okay, so for machine learning, basically is a branch of AI and is also most important subfield of AI. So basically, it's based on development of learning technique that allow machine to learn based on analytic of data and applying some algorithms for this processing and other for decision making from the data already analyzed. One of the goal of this machine learning is to facilitate the process of analyzing data intelligently. Example of which are spam filter, OCR, optical character recognition, quantification of data relationship, recommendation system, computer aided medical diagnostics, search engine also. So this kind of machine algorithm can be classified based on the type of feedback received. So I present a total of in 6 categories here. First is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, semi-supervised learning, reinforcement learning, transduction learning, and multitasking learning. There are different type of algorithm to perform the learning that can be grouped according to the type of output of the same. So in this subsection, we talk about the decision tree, association rules, genetic algorithm, artificial neural network, deep learning, support vector machine, clustering, and also Bayesian network. Okay, so within AI, one of the field is the computer vision. So in this computer vision, so this is the basic component inside the computer vision in order to process the image. So firstly, usually the image will processed by the feature detection, and then it will goes to the mean segmentation, and the last one is feature matching. So these are basic things lah inside the computer vision. So the goal of the computer vision basically is that machine to understand the world. So getting the machine is to able to recognize element by their image and discern what they are, calculate how far they are and their place, and all this in quick way. However, performing this task present many challenges. So the first one is how to model the object so that the computer can discern the different type of object to differentiate what is a person or what is a car, for example. However, this can be used from many different positions. Here come another problem, that is to recognize or differentiate if a person is sitting, standing, behind a vehicle or crouched, or even if the car is in front or profile. In addition, there are different light stages throughout of the day, not only day and night, but also cloudy and sunny. So this creates another problem, that is that some object may be in the same position that the computer recognize, but it is not able to recognize is due to light change. Another challenges is the one is arise about how to process the image. Data tasks must be quick and efficiency of the image should be performed, which must be processed in different way to normalize it and to avoid some problem previously discussed. Currently, one of the most important field in computer vision is the detection of the people. So it is due to boom to create intelligent system mostly for cars to detect pedestrian in order to avoid or at least reduce the severity of the accident. Some even try to recognize human environment. So regarding the works related of to the combination in IoT is hardly found. However, there is a lot related work that focus on the recognition of people, face and head. So this work is mainly oriented to vehicle to prevent outrage or reduce the damage of this, and help by creating alarm to notify quickly and efficiently when all the people fall at home. Third is the fuzzy logic. So in fuzzy logic, basically it must to solve problem that classical logic could not solve, because classical logic can only deal with binary values, while some problem require dealing with more values, because this problem use expression that they are not totally true or false. Thus, by having more than two value, one can have more states. That decision can be made with more information and allow them to be represented by an intermediate value that is between absolute true and total falsehood. Normally, these states are known as linguistic variables, which can represent characteristics of type size, which in this case could have three possible values or even more, such as big, medium, or small. Uh, for case study that have been done by Larios, Larios locate a device avoiding many localization error and therefore achieving better accuracy. So in this case, the auto also achieves saving in the energy consumption of different elements such as GPS. In other hand, Chamodrakas and Matrakos propose using fuzzy set representation method to select a network and connect to it in an efficient way with lower power consumption, a good quality of services, and with a good performance. In contrast, in Brachi, fuzzy logic was used to maintain streaming, playback quality, and achieve improvement in energy consumption. However, there are also proposals for the improvement of vehicle system. In the first, the researcher proposed improvement the exchange of information between vehicle and server in order to save energy. Meanwhile, in the second, the researcher proposed a system to create application through the use of voice. Meanwhile, other focus energy saving in home. So where they use fuzzy logic to make decision based on outdoor temperature and humidity and the interior temperature of the house using two IoT network, and to know if it's necessary to turn on and to turn off the heating or air in AC. The last one is natural language processing. So basically, in this field, it tries to solve the problem understanding natural language using machine, or in other words, allowing user to communicate with the machine in a faster or more effective way using NLP. As shown in the congressional survey, there has been much research. There must be much research with NLP in the field of medicine to improve service provided to patient and help doctor in their task. First example, in medicine, where they use NLP to detect problem of misuse opioid prescription in order to prevent and control their misuse. Since problems were detected in traditional clinics that contain documents or incomplete information, or in case in which the patient information is obscure due to the large number of documents from the clinic. In order to solve this, they proposed a method that combined NLP algorithm and manual computer help to review the notes and detect problem with opioid misuse. Other use of the NLP are those applied to linguistics to help translate or create tools to process certain language. So in the previous article, we can see the researcher developed a framework that promote collaboration between linguistic and non-linguistic in the use of NLP application for Arabic language. In other hand, the researcher also present a simulator that can be used to simulate a parser for Bahasa Indonesia, which is the language of Indonesia. Due to the lack of research in this area for this language, NLP can also be used to give order, as they do in the article, that can be used in the handle robot. The researcher tried to create a human-machine interface with NLP because they have a greater impact on user, especially where they have no training. Therefore, they're representing an interface that receive order in natural language and transform them into order for the robot. Other example similar to the robot is the is is using the algorithm to create SQL statement. With this, the researcher sought to bring SQL to non-professional user so that they could write a sentence in natural language that was transformed to the corresponding query in SQL by using an expert system made in Prolog to contains the experience in that domain. So now I want to go to application. First is smart thermostat. For smart thermostat, it can be used with the home automation and are responsible for controlling a home heating or in air condition. The smartphone integration can be used to check and control temperature from anywhere. Second is manufacturing industry. So in this application, manufacturing is the one of the industry that already embraced new technologies such as IoT, AI, facial recognition, deep learning, robots, and many more. Robot employed in the factory are turning smarter with the support of implant sensor, which facilitate data transmission, are turning. Third is retail analytics. In the retail analytics, it involves numerous data points from camera and sensor to observe customer movement and to predict when they will reach the checkout line. Thereby, the system can suggest dynamic staffing level to reduce the checkout time and increasing the productivity of the cashier. Fourth is smart agriculture. In the smart agriculture, basically, this term is broad because it collects agriculture and food production practice powered by Internet of Things, big data, and advanced analytic technology. Sensor-based system for monitoring crops, soil, fields, and also livestock. Drone, smart vehicle for monitoring crops. Five is travel technology. So basically, travel technology we can call as a tourism technology or hospitality automation. Basically, this application focus on IT, ICT or ICT in travel, tourism, and hospitality industry. Some form of travel technology are flight tracking, pre-travel planning through online travel agency, and system that allow tourism to review their experience. The last one is health informatics. So in health informatics, the field of science and engineering that aim at developing method and technology for the acquisition, processing, and study of patient data, which can come from different source and modality. such as electronic health records, diagnostic test result, and also medical scan. So the health domain provide an extremely wide variety of problems that can be tackled using computational technique. So for the future aspect, AI and IoT are inseparable. So the entire idea of AI is to capture more actionable data from IoT devices. Second is AI is more about making machine put in intelligent behavior. While this, the function of IoT is to make this machine connect. Third is the future of industrial automation lies in convergence of AI and IoT. Artificial intelligence of things will impact almost every industry vertical including automotive, aviation, finance, healthcare, manufacturing and supply chains. So now I want to talk about the research progress. Okay, so during my time in this university, so currently I involved in this research grant. So this is the grant that are involved. First is about the rapid flood emergency responsible solution during flood based on human activity recognition and classification. So in this first research grant, I involved as a member. So currently, the experiment already done everything, and I'm focused on the paper writing for submitting to the conference and journal. Second is fingerprint and facial identification using enhanced artificial intelligence algorithm. So in this research grant, so I involved as also as a member. So currently, I'm want to conduct a workshop regarding of this artificial intelligence in IoT. Okay, so currently I also doing the industry collaboration. So the company that involved currently is AZ Safir Travel and Tours. So the owner is Ustad Dr. Syed Abdul Aziz. So in this company, we want to focus in field of IT tourism. So currently the stage is in early stage because I just submit the proposal of apa ni LOI to the pejabat undang-undang. So I still waiting about the feedback. Okay. Same goes with this second company, Hill Ultra Sinar Berhad, which is the owner is the IR Dr. Syed Hussein. So this owner actually uh, is a ex professor at UTM Skudai. So the field that we focusing is health informatics. So currently the progress still in a list test, uh, which is I just submit the LOI to the pejabat undang-undang for the approval. Okay. So as a conclusion, today for this uh, for this knowledge sharing, so AI is a very vast field. Besides, we have seen some example of the use AI with the IoT, and how this fusion can create very important and interesting application. But however, we have only touched for most important part, such as machine learning, computer vision, fuzzy logic, and also the NLP. So these four subfields are very related to each other, mainly by the algorithm they are used to process the different information or the technique that are used to teach the necessary information to create the model that different technique you need. Furthermore, these subfields are used to create smarter machine or program to help us in our daily life, such as Internet of Things is trying to do. For instance, machine learning could be used to create a better model with enough intelligence to automate and take decision. Computer vision to automate visual scenario. Meanwhile, fuzzy logic to give intelligent and take decision to save money, electricity, and so on. And the last one, NLP, can be used to improve understanding between machine and the humankind. So that's why we need this kind of the integration between this field. So the IoT with AI could open a new world of opportunity as the related work as shown. Even though there have been only a few work on this topic and it is necessary a lot of research in the intersection of this field. Okay, so this is the reference that I refer for making this slide. And then I think that's all for my research sharing. So I open for Q&A. to to participant here.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Yaakob. Okay, so is there any questions that we can share together with Dr. Yaakob?
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
How are you, Dr. Yaakob?
Fine. Alhamdulillah.
Okay, basically I just want to ask about AI. Okay, most of the people they are using AI in IoT field nowadays.
Ah,
Okay, based on my understanding, IoT is a device or most probably we call it as a sensor,
ah.
sensor that can collect the data and so on. So where actually we can apply the AI?
Actually sebenarnya kalau dalam based on dalam konsep yang kita fahami ni, AI actually is a algorithm. I mean like a intelligent algorithm which is we can apply everywhere. Sebenarnya sebab asal AI ni sebenarnya asalnya adalah daripada matematik, kemudian dia evolve, kemudian dia jadi macam boleh jadi macam computer science dan everything. Kemudian bila dah sampai satu tahap, dia dah matured. Sekarang ni dah matured dan dia boleh, actually nowadays pun kita dah implement AI dekat pelbagai devices. So kita boleh implement AI tu ke dalam devices. Okay. Cuma pada in the future kita tak tahu lagi apa yang platform yang akan menggantikan IoT. Jikalau sebelum ada IoT, kita ada ubiquitous computing kan. So kita implement AI dekat platform situ. Kemudian sekarang IoT dia dah replace ubiquitous computing, jadi so AI akan place dekat IoT. And in the future kalau ada some fields kan, ada field yang lain yang replace IoT, and I believe AI akan place dekat field yang baru nanti, pengganti kepada IoT. Ha. Tapi basically AI can be implement everywhere in currently. Uh, Kalau kita tengok dekat kehidupan seharian kita, komputer is everywhere, almost everywhere. Dia punya term tu dah makin menjadi lebih broad kan. Anything yang boleh compute kita boleh panggil sebagai komputer. Even though mesin basuh dekat rumah kita boleh pakai sebagai komputer, sebab benda tu dia boleh compute dan kita boleh letak AI dalam tu kan, mesin basuh kan. Kalau sebelum ni, kalau tahun 90-an, kalau kita cakap mesin basuh adalah komputer, mungkin orang tak setuju. Tapi kalau zaman sekarang, kalau kita cakap mesin basuh komputer, orang setuju. Sebab apa? Sebab mesin basuh sekarang ini dah jadi macam IoT kan. Kalau kita tengok Samsung pun dia dah buat kan, everything benda dalam rumah ni jadi macam smart home, home intelligent, kita boleh connect with each other. Dulu saya tak tahu benda ni, tapi bila saya dah bila try beli handphone Samsung, rupanya tab Samsung ni dia boleh connect dekat TV. Oh, tab Samsung ni boleh connect dekat boleh control dekat apa? Boleh control mesin basuh, boleh control apa ni? Control rumah. Kalau kita ada device Samsung, contoh macam kita ada tab Samsung, kita ada TV Samsung, kan? Actually tab ni tab lain, tapi TV tu TV lain. TV Samsung yang lain, tapi kita boleh gunakan untuk control TV tu. Sama juga kalau macam mesin basuh Samsung tu kan, dia model lain, tapi dia boleh connect dengan dengan application dalam Samsung tab tu. So nak ceritakan bahawa basically AI boleh implement everywhere as long as benda tu boleh compute. Tapi saya rasa kalau ada some field yang akan replace IoT tu, so bidang yang akan replace IoT tu yang akan kita akan implement AI pada masa kelak, pada masa akan datang. Itu pendapat saya. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Dr. Yaakob.
Assalamualaikum Dr. Yaakob.
Assalamualaikum. Apa khabar?
Alhamdulillah. Dr. Yaakob buka taksonomi tu tadi saya nak tanya.
Alamak.
Dr. Yaakob punya research tu kan? Contoh research yang pertama tadi, research pasal rapid flood emergency response tu kan? Kalau ikut kat taksonomi tu, kat mana? Yang mana satu? Dr. Yaakob punya tu, yang research rapid flood emergency response. Kat mana pakai? Which one?
Oh, actually dalam rapid flood detection tu kita guna pakai learning dekat ni, dekat bahagian dekat bahagian machine learning lah. Dekat
Ini
bahagian
yang mana satu? Pakai supervised unsupervised.
pakai ni lah, pakai saya guna decision tree. Sebab kita punya research kita fokus on fokus on detecting the level of flood by using by using AI. So AI dekat situ akan AI dekat situ adalah menentukan ketinggian air. Ketinggian air.
Pakai decision tree aje lah. Learning technique dia pakai apa
Learning teknik pakai supervise.
Supervised.
Uh,
Okey, lepas tu yang tepi-tepi ni tak pakai lah. Computer vision, fuzzy logic, NLP ni tak pakai lah. Kalau maknanya research sekarang ni pakai yang ni je lah. Ni,
ya betul, ya betul.
ni je.
Ya betul, ya betul.
Okay. Kalau untuk fingerprint dan facial identification, tak pakai ergo, pakai computer visionnya ni.
Ya
Kalau
betul.
yang second tu, fingerprint and facial identification.
Ya betul.
Pakai apa? Pakai feature matching ke feature detection?
Ya ini actually yang ini kena pakai semua ni sebenarnya kalau diikutkan, sebab ini adalah basic komponen dalam computer vision.
Okey. Pakai semua lah.
Betul. Basic komponen.
Kalau orang cakap pasal AI punya algo, bukan yang machine learning punya algo je, yang kalau computer vision tu pun dia panggil algo tu. Panggil algo.
Oh, yang mana? Yang dalam tu boleh juga panggil algo.
Computer vision ni dia ada detection kan. Ini pun algo juga kan.
Ya betul.
AI algo.
Ya betul.
So so yang cabang-cabang banyak-banyak ni ada machine learning, ada computer vision, fuzzy logic, NLP, ni semua adalah algo dalam AI.
Ya betul. Cuma kita susun based on dia punya categorization lah. Macam ni dia focusing macam dua ni macam focusing untuk macam untuk processing kan. Yang ni macam untuk fokus untuk camera detection. Yang ni macam fokus untuk linguistic punya detection. Yang ni lebih kepada, yang ni lebih kurang macam machine learning jugalah. Dia macam fokus pada algorithm untuk processing. Dua ni processing.
Okey, kalau macam tadi kan ada satu nak buat projek yang untuk travel punya tu kan?
Ya betul.
Yang tu selalu nak pakai AI apa pakai?
Yang tu?
Travel teknologi tu.
Actually, for the time being ni kita masih dekat early stage lagi. Kita macam belum bincang terlalu detail projek. Tapi antara projek-projek yang kita yang saya cadangkan adalah lebih fokus pada travel punya application. Macam contohnya Indo location dekat Indo positioning determination dekat Masjidil Haram kan. Sebab actually company tu dia bawa orang pergi haji umrah. Sebab most of the people yang go there adalah orang tua, macam kurang upaya, and then the most important thing adalah mereka ni selalunya first timer. Jadi so isu-isu orang yang sesat apa semua tu itu biasa. Even though last time dulu nenek saya pernah terlepas daripada jemaah kan. Jadi so mungkin bila ada application tu mungkin boleh menggunakan IoT punya infrastructure iaitu Indo positioning, kita boleh guide jemaah dalam tu untuk pergi dekat pintu-pintu yang betul. Jadi so dia tahulah, tak adalah macam tersesat sangat. Macam tu.
Itu macam kita punya GPS sekarang lah kan.
Ya, tapi dalam in case Masjidil Haram, so Masjidil Haram GPS dia tak berapa nak masuk sangat dekat situ sebab yelah dia memang tak ada bumbung, tapi it's a obstructed environment kan. Jadi signal tak berapa bagus, jadi so kita akan gunakan infrastructure dalam tu lah. So macam tu in order to obtain the Indo positioning information.
Indo positioning.
Itu kita masih, saya cuma cakap dekat situ dekat kami sebab ini betul-betul early stage collaboration. Lagipun saya pun sekarang ni macam stage baru nak belajar industry collaboration kan. Jadi so kita start benda yang paling mudah dulu, nanti fikirlah macam mana lebih-lebih tu nak follow up.
Indoor lah.
Macam tu lah, itu punya dia.
Outdoor, outdoor kita pakai yang biasa tu. Kalau indoor tu selalu dia susah nak dapat obstruction kan.
Betul. Lepas tu ada thing is application yang macam saya suggest macam untuk macam suatu travel guide kan. Kalau macam untuk pergi umrah, haji kan. So especially haji lah. Bila pergi haji tu kita yelah macam saya cakap tadi, masalah orang pergi haji umrah dia orang first timer. dia orang dah belajar dekat Malaysia macam mana nak perform haji, umrah. Dah hafal dah apa semua. Tapi bila masa sampai dekat tempat tu,
Indoor tu bagus
semua lupa.
sebab bila
Semua
kita dah
lupa.
ada kat dalam bila kita dah ada kat dalam masjid tu, masjid tu kadang-kadang kita tak tahu kita punya partner kita
Kat mana?
kat bahagian mana kan kat dalam masjid tu. Betul. Yang tu sebab kan dia ada banyak pintu kan.
Betul.
So tak sure pintu mana kita tunggu kan. So kalau pakai indoor punya tu untuk kawasan Masjid Madinah semua tu good idea lah tu sebab
betul.
Itulah kalau kita tak tahu kita kadang kita tunggu pintu nombor 25 ke pintu mana ke kita tengok cari pintu lain. Kalau kita ada yang tu
Betul.
okey lah sebab kalau kita pakai yang biasa punya ni dia akan tunjuk overall kan.
Betul.
Tunjuk bangunan je.
Betul.
Tapi tak tunjuk the exact pintu tu kat mana kan. Bagus juga awak punya
ya cadangan tadi lah.
Bagus. Bagus. Itu untuk kalau jemaah haji baguslah.
Betul.
Even kalau dah pergi kalau nak pergi melontar apa semua pun kita tak tahu position kat mana dah ada kan.
Betul.
Okay.
Betul.
Good idea. Good. Cuma nak implement tu je lah.
Betul. So dalam research tu collaboration mungkin kita akan macam kita akan gunakan syarikat ni untuk bantu kita dari segi sharing data ataupun infrastructure. So macam tu, macam kita nak implement tu, so mungkin kita akan guna khidmat dia lah dari situ. Itu saya punya cadangan lah. Masih lagi early stage sebenarnya. Tak lepas saya pun lagi LOI.
Saya duk fikir pasal tu je lah macam mana nak dapat sebab sekarang kalau macam kita guna yang biasa punya kan, yang kita punya biasa ni kita pakai GS tu dia akan pakai satellite kan.
Ya betul.
Betul daripada satellite kan. So tak tahu kat sana macam mana adakah baca satellite tu sampai ke indoor tu allow ke tak ke kan.
Betul.
Kawasan tu kan.
Betul.
Dia boleh tembus ke tak kawasan. Mungkin kena pasang yang dalaman punya sensor ke apa ke supaya sensor tu communicate dengan dalaman lah.
Betul.
Tak dia tak go through satellite ke sini. Tak tahu. Tak boleh mikir lah.
Okay. Terima kasih Prof.
Sama.
Dr. Yaakob nak tanya pasal yang rapid flight tu.
Rapid flight.
Yang itu dia yang kan apa tu yang tu guna sensor apa untuk identify macam level of height of the water level of water kan?
Ya betul. So basically sensor yang kita guna adalah sensor initial navigation center, ataupun kita panggil IMU, initial measurement unit. So basically dekat current most I think dalam for nowadays memang akan ada sensor tu. Sensor tu kalau kita panggil nama kampung dia selalu kita panggil sebagai gyroscope. Itulah INS IMU. So basically sensor tu dia operate adalah dengan detect phone orientation, and then so macam mana as a algorithm to process this kind of the information daripada orientation data yang kita dapat daripada sensor tu. Kemudian AI ni akan proses based on the phone orientation. Of course kita selalunya dalam kes ni kita ambil pendekatan handphone akan diletak di dalam poket. So bila handphone akan diletak di dalam poket, jadi orientation yang didapat daripada sensor tu based on the pergerakan kaki. So daripada pergerakan kaki, AI akan detect tu dan proses in order to dapat untuk producekan ketinggian air tu. Actually dia bukan produce, actually dia macam macam predict the high level of the level of the water. Kemudian data tersebut mungkin boleh kita simpan ataupun untuk proses dekat server. So macam tu.
Okay. Alright. Okay, ada soalan daripada kawan-kawan yang lain?
Assalamualaikum Dr. Yaakob.
Assalamualaikum, apa khabar Dr. Syukur?
Okay, just sebagai satu lontaran idea lah. Saya ada visit satu company kat Puchong. Dia Favor IoT. Favor IoT ni dia buat IoT lah. One of dia punya produk ni saya visit sini untuk pasal student intern intern
Oh.
ITI lah. Dia intern kat situ.
Hmm.
Jadi antara satu produk dia adalah apps yang dia embed dekat jam smartwatch. Okay, untuk dia monitor kesihatan dan juga monitor location jemaah umrah. Dan dia ada dua isu kat sini. Biasanya jemaah umrah ni kadang-kadang ada yang haji lah, tersesat kan, seperti mana disebut tadi. Yang kedua adalah kadar
Boleh ulangkan nama company juga?
kesihatan. Favor IoT. Favor IoT.
Oh, Favor IoT. Okey. Lepas tu?
Satu lagi adalah dia monitoring kadar kesihatan. Kesihatan jemaah umrah atau haji tu. Pasal kita tak tahu, kadang-kadang di balik hotel, dekat hotel sihat, tapi bila dia mengajar umrah haji tu, dia punya kadar jantung, hati dah berbeza kan. Jadi produk tu dah ada. Produk tu memang dia dah test. Dia dah test untuk orang yang pergi umrah. Waktu saya duduk situ tu, dia tengah panggil ada satu company travel lah untuk bawa jam dia tu pergi. Tapi dia monitor. Bagusnya adalah contohnya lah mak ayah kita, semua jemaah contohnya lah satu grup jemaah umrah tu pakai jam tu kan. Kalau dia hilang, kita tahu dia kat mana.
Hilang mana.
Kalau dia hilang, travel tu akan tahu orang tu di mana. Okey, yang kedua adalah even anak dia dekat Malaysia pun tahu mak ayah dia kat mana. Kat Mina ke kat apa semua tahu.
Dekat dia pergi toilet ke apa tahu, semua tahulah.
Ya, tahu. Location jam tu.
Okey, baik.
Yang kedua adalah kadar kesihatan tu sama. Anak-anak semua dan doktor yang contohnya doktor yang pantau kesihatan jemaah umrah ataupun jemaah haji, dia tahu kesihatan jemaah haji ataupun umrah yang sedang buat ibadah tu.
Baik.
Based on jam tu je. Jadi it's good, I think very good device lah, IoT yang mungkin kita boleh improve lah. Kita dia ada ada kerjasama dengan travel tu kan. Dengan travel tu. So mungkin boleh tengok dekat tu lah, Favor IoT tu. Yang bestnya salah seorang yang develop, seorang yang involved dengan projek ni adalah student ITI kita. Student ITI kita. Jadi interesting lah. Very interesting dengan projek tu lah. Itulah yang saya dapat kongsikan. Tapi projek tu sebenarnya dah lama, dah 4 tahun lepas.
Okay.
Cuma now tak tahu apa dia punya progress lah.
Ya. Baik. Actually ni yang saya pernah dengar daripada tabung haji lah. Tabung haji pasal detect location. Actually ada ini sebab saya pun dengar jugalah pandangan waktu pernah bincang dengan owner company lah pasal apps ni. Kalau nak buat travel apps, anything lah travel apps yang berkaitan dengan umrah, selalunya kalau tabung haji dia prefer something yang zero cost. Maksudnya zero cost tu maksudnya kan kita as user tak perlu tambah duit untuk dapatkan benda tu. Ada yang macam yelah, ada sebelum dia ada buat macam tag, letak RFID tag untuk detect, tapi benda tu macam tabung haji dia macam apa, dia tak berapa nak suka benda tu lah. Dia kalau boleh dia lebih prefer benda yang something yang zero cost, bukannya macam tak ada cost langsung, tapi maksudnya user tak perlu nak tambah duit untuk memiliki apps tu. Itu yang dia cadangkan. That's why saya utarakan idea yang ni. So kita gunakan fokus on mobile apps lah. Tapi tak tahu tak tahu apa cerita nanti. Tengoklah kalau LOI lepas semua, nanti kita fokuskan balik macam mana nak pergi ke collaboration. Sama ada mungkin pergi kat CSR ke macam mana ke. Tapi itulah niat saya nak pergi ke arah tu lah. Dan satu lagi yang saya nampak, satu apps ni sebab yelah tempat yang kita implement tu adalah tempat yang everybody pergi kan. Sebab yelah satu dunia pergi kat situ. So kalau misalnya dapat implement apps tu, so mungkin daripada benefit dekat untuk universiti kan, So kita boleh increase lah nama visibility apa ni, nama UTM ni dekat mata dunia. Sebab semua orang akan guna apps tu lah. Kalau berjaya insyaAllah.
InsyaAllah. Okay. Alright, so okay, ada soalan lain daripada kawan-kawan? Okay, so Dr. Syukur pun ada kongsikan apa ni, website okay, daripada company tu.
Oh, terima kasih doktor.
Okay, so,
Semoga Allah memudahkan.
Travel IoT. Okay, so saya rasa ni adalah student PA saya kan Dr. Syukur. Apa nama dia dah tak ingat dah. Okay. Alright, so kan. Okay. Alhamdulillah lah sebab student tu agak bermasalah lah sebelum ni.
Betul, tapi bagus ya, student macam ni dia kat situ dia cemerlang. Biasanya daripada dia jadi hands on punya orang, mungkin subjek dia mungkin ada apa tu dia tak dapat cakap sangat, tapi practical base dekat sana dia dapat pujian lah daripada bos Travel IoT ni. Very good lah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, syukurlah. Okay. Semoga dia berjaya lah insyaAllah. Okay, so ada soalan lagi daripada kawan-kawan yang lain?
Siapa tu Prof K tanya kedatangan.
Oh, kedatangan. Alamak.
Okay, so tapi dia dah keluar kodnya sebab dia message kat saya private. Dia ingat saya yang arrange.
Oh, okay.
Pasal kedatangan dia ambil kat webback kot. Jadi dia ni record kat webback kan. Kat webback ada kedatangan.
Okay, so nanti saya refer kat webback. Saya terlupa langsung pasal kedatangan. Alright. Okay, so saya rasa setakat itu saja. So terima kasih kepada Dr. Wan Muhammad Yaakob atas perkongsian ilmu. Okay, untuk kita semua at least tahulah apakah AI dan IoT, dan apakah bidang-bidang yang boleh kita ceburilah dalam AI dan IoT. Okay, so nampaknya Dr. Wan Muhammad Yaakob lebih kepada untuk develop IoT dalam traveling, bidang cabang travel lah. Alright. So, so saya rasa itu saja buat setakat ni. So, moga kita berjumpa lagi dalam ICT Coffee Session yang lain. So terima kasih kerana menghadiri program ini. Dan kita sudahi dengan tasbih kifarah dan surah Al-Asr. Terima kasih semua.
Terima kasih.
Terima
kasih.
Okay, doktor saya leave ya doktor. Terima kasih doktor.
Okay. Alright. Terima kasih Dr. Yaakob.
Okay, sama.